Hey everyone! Welcome back to Unique Old Coin, the place where we uncover the fascinating stories and hidden treasures behind coins from all over the world. Today, we're diving into the history, design, and value of one of Australia's interesting decimal coins, the 1972 Australian 10-cent piece. Whether you're a collector, a history buff, or just curious about the change in your pocket, this one's for you. The 10-cent coin was first introduced in 1966 when Australia switched from the old pound, shillings, and pence system to the modern decimal currency we use today. The 10-cent replaced the pre-decimal shilling but retained the same size and silver color, which made the transition easier for the public. The 1972 issue comes from a time when Australia's coin production was still relatively young under the decimal system. Interestingly, this year saw a relatively low mintage compared to other years, making the 1972 coin a bit more sought after by collectors. These coins were struck at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, which was responsible for most of Australia's circulating coinage after decimalisation. Now, let's talk about the design, because it's truly Australian. In the obverse, the front, we have the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This Machin portrait shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara and was used on Australian coins from 1966 until 1984. On the reverse, the back, we see a beautifully detailed male lyrebird, a bird native to Australia, known for its impressive tail feathers and incredible ability to mimic sounds. The design was created by Stuart Devlin, Australia's official goldsmith and coin designer at the time. The 1972 10-cent coin was made from copper nickel, weighing 5.65 grams and measuring 23.6 millimeters in diameter. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The mintage for 1972 was around 28 million coins, which is lower compared to the tens of millions produced in surrounding years. While 28 million may sound like a lot, for coin collectors, the relative scarcity in high grades makes it more valuable. As with most coins, the value of your 1972 10-cent depends heavily on condition, or what collectors call grade. Circulated condition ***. If your coin has lots of scratches, wear, and dullness from use, it's considered circulated. Most 1972 10-cent coins fall in this category. Very fine, VF, ***. Moderate wear but still with clear detail on the lyrebird's feathers and Queen's portrait. Extremely fine, EF, ***. Only light wear, with most design details crisp. Uncirculated, UNC, ***. Looks almost brand new, with original mint luster and no wear. Proof coins ***. Special collector version struck with extra detail and shine, though 1972 proofs were not for general circulation. So, how much is the 1972 Australian 10-cent coin worth today? Circulated condition ***. Usually worth around 10 to 50 cents, high-grade EF to UNC ***. These can sell for between $3 and $8 AUD. Gem UNC examples ***. Rare. Pristine coins can fetch up to $15 AUD or more from collectors. It's worth noting that most people will only find this coin in circulated condition, but if you happen to have one stored away in top shape, you might have a small treasure. Here's a fun fact. The lyrebird on the reverse is not only a beautiful symbol of Australian wildlife but also a subtle nod to the idea of mimicry, just like how coins mimic history and culture through their designs. Also, while the 1972 10-cent isn't considered extremely rare, high-grade examples are getting harder to find as time goes on. Because most have been in circulation for over 50 years, now we're taking a deep dive into one of Australia's classic decimal coins, the 1972 Australian 10-cent piece ***. This one is more than just spare change. It's a coin that represents a fascinating era in Australian history. Let's begin. To truly understand the 1972 Australian 10-cent coin, we need to go back to the mid-20th century, when Australia was preparing for one of its biggest monetary changes, the switch from the old imperial currency system to decimal currency. Before 1966, Australia used the pounds, shillings, and pence system inherited from Britain. It was a complicated setup, 12 pence in a shilling, 20 shillings in a pound. This made everyday transactions tricky, especially as the modern world moved towards simpler systems. In 1966, Australia officially decimalised its currency, introducing the dollar and cent. The 10-cent coin took the place of the old shilling in value and size, which helped Australians adjust to the new system without confusion. The new decimal coins were designed by the renowned goldsmith and coin designer Stuart Devlin, whose work became iconic in Australian coinage. The lyrebird design on the reverse was chosen to highlight Australia's unique wildlife and national identity. By the early 1970s, the 10-cent coin had become one of the most used coins in daily life, used for small purchases, bus fares, snacks, and public telephones. Now, let's talk about the year 1972 itself. This was a period of political and cultural change in Australia. The country had just seen the end of long Liberal Party rule with the election of Gough Whitlam's Labour government in December. Economically, Australia was transitioning from the post-war boom into a more complex global economy and the world of minting. The Royal Australian Mint in Canberra had been operating for only 6 years by 1972, but it had already taken full control over producing the nation's coins. The minting process was improving each year, but 1972 still had a lower mintage compared to some earlier and later years. Roughly 28 million 10-cent coins were struck in 1972. While that may sound like a lot, it's lower than the massive numbers produced in years like 1966 or the 1980s. This lower mintage didn't make the coin rare in its time, but it does mean that finding one today in pristine condition is a little more challenging. It's also worth noting that coins from this period were made to last, using a copper-nickel alloy that was resistant to corrosion and wear. Many 1,972 coins survived decades in circulation, but heavy use means most are now worn down, with only a small number remaining in crisp, uncirculated quality. So, the 1972 10-cent coin is not just a piece of money, it's a snapshot of Australia's early decimal era, a time of change, optimism, and a growing national identity reflected in everyday currency. Today, we're traveling down under to explore the Australian 50-cent coin from 1981, a coin that's big, bold, and full of fascinating details. We'll uncover its history, design, metal composition, mintage, and of course, its current value in both circulated and uncirculated conditions. Oh, grab your magnifying glass, because this is going to be a deep dive. Before we get into the 1981 version specifically, let's step back for a moment. The Australian 50-cent coin first appeared in 1966. Replacing the pre-decimal 5-shilling coin when Australia switched to decimal currency. But here's an interesting twist. The first 50-cent coin in 1966 was made of 80% silver, making it extremely popular with collectors and silver hoarders. People quickly started keeping them, and because silver prices rose, the coin was withdrawn from circulation after just 1 year. In 1969, the coin returned with a completely different look, a 12-sided shape, made from copper-nickel instead of silver, to make it easier to distinguish from the smaller 20-cent coin. By 1981, the design was well established. But something interesting happened that year. Production of the 50-cent coin was carried out not only by the Royal Australian Mint, but also by mints overseas, due to high demand for coins in circulation. The 1981 Australian 50-cent coin kept the same iconic 12-sided shape we know today. Asterisk on the obverse asterisk asterisk, the front of the coin, you'll find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait had been used since 1966 and was known for its elegance and classic profile of the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. On the reverse asterisk asterisk, the back of the coin, is the famous Australian coat of arms, designed by Stuart Devlin. This features the kangaroo and emu standing on either side of the shield, both animals chosen because they are unique to Australia and, symbolically, they never walk backward, representing progress. The shield displays the badges of the 6 Australian states *, New South Wales * Victoria, Queensland * South Australia, Western Australia, Tasmania. The coin's diameter is 31.65 mm, and it weighs 15.55 grams, making it one of the largest and heaviest coins in regular Australian circulation. The 1981 50-cent coin is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a durable metal mix that gives it that silver-like color but without the precious metal content. Mintage numbers for 1981 were quite large. The Royal Australian Mint struck around 20 million coins, but the interesting part is that production was outsourced to other mints, including the Royal Mint in London and the Royal Canadian Mint, to meet the demand. Because of this, there are slight variations in the strike and finish, which advanced collectors sometimes look for. Now let's talk about value, but remember, with modern coins, condition is everything. In circulated condition ***, the 1981 Australian 50-cent coin is still worth face value, 50 cents, for spending purposes. However, collectors may pay a little more if it's in better condition. Average circulated ***, around AUD $0.50 to $1. Good condition ***, around AUD $1 to $2. Extremely fine, EF, **$3 to $5. Uncirculated, UNC, **$8 to $12. Brilliant uncirculated or proof examples $*$$$15 to $$25, depending on packaging and rarity. Special note, coins with a particularly sharp strike from the Canadian or London mints can sometimes be sought after, but most 1981 coins are common. If you're hunting for a nice 1981 50-cent coin, here are a few tips. 1. Look for luster. Uncirculated coins will have their original mint shine. 2. Check for nicks and scratches. Even small marks can affect value. 3. Inspect the rim. The 12-sided shape should be crisp with no flattening. 4. Look for minting errors. While rare, some coins might have die cracks, misalignments, or double designs, which can significantly increase value. For storage, keep your coin in a protective holder away from moisture to prevent tarnishing. Here's a fun fact. The Australian 50-cent coin is one of the few coins in the world with a distinctive 12-sided design that is still in circulation today, making it instantly recognizable not only in Australia, but to coin lovers around the globe. And while the 1981 issue isn't rare, it's a great piece to include in a collection, especially if you're building a year-by-year set. Plus, its large size makes it perfect for appreciating the detailed coat of arms engraving. So there you have it, the story, details, and value of the 1981 Australian 50-cent coin. To understand the 1981 50-cent coin, we have to go back to the mid-1960s, a time when Australia was going through one of the biggest monetary changes in its history, the switch from pounds, shillings, and pence to the decimal currency system. The very first 50-cent coin was released on February 14, 1966, Decimal Currency Day, alongside the 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, and 20 cent coins. This coin was round, made from 80% silver and 20% copper, weighed 13.28 grams, and had a diameter of 31.5 mm. Featured Queen Elizabeth II's first Australian portrait, designed by Arnold Machin, on the obverse, and the Australian coat of arms on the reverse, designed by Stuart Devlin. The public loved the design, but they loved the silver even more. As silver prices rose in the late 1960s, the metal content of the coin became more valuable than its face value. People began hoarding them, and by the end of 1966, the coin was quietly withdrawn from circulation. Australia needed a 50-cent coin that wouldn't get confused with a smaller 20-cent coin and wouldn't be made of expensive silver. In 1969, the Royal Australian Mint introduced the dodecagonal, 12-sided, copper-nickel 50-cent coin, the exact size and weight we know today, 15.55 grams, 31.65 millimeters diameter. The new shape made it instantly recognizable by touch and sight, and the copper-nickel alloy was cheaper and more durable for everyday use. Despite the change in shape and composition, the design, the coat of arms, remained the same, because it was already an iconic national symbol. Throughout the 1970s, the 50-cent coin became a familiar sight in Australian pockets and purses. Most years featured the standard coat of arms reverse, but some special years, like 1970 and 1977, had commemorative designs for events like Captain Cook's Bicentenary and Queen Elizabeth II's Silver Jubilee. The obverse during this time continued to feature Arnold Machin's portrait of the Queen, a youthful, elegant image that had been in use since decimalization. By the early 1980s, Australia's population had grown, the economy was expanding, and the demand for coins was high. The Royal Australian Mint in Canberra was producing millions of coins each year, but in 1981, they faced such large orders that they needed help. This is where the 1981 50-cent coin becomes especially interesting. Instead of being minted only in Canberra, production was shared between 3 different mints. 1. The Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, Australia. 2. The Royal Mint in Llantrisant, Wales, United Kingdom. 3. The Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa, Canada. All 3 facilities struck coins with the same design, but slight differences in strike quality, rim thickness, and metal finish can sometimes be spotted by careful collectors. The decision to outsource production was a practical move. It allowed Australia to meet coinage demands without overloading the Canberra Mint's capacity. Despite being made in different countries, the design in 1981 was unchanged from previous years. Obverse *** Queen Elizabeth II in Arnold Machin's portrait. Reverse ***, the coat of arms designed by Stuart Devlin. This consistency kept the 50-cent coin instantly recognizable, even as minting took place overseas. Few coins around the world have such a unique combination of size, weight, and shape. The 12-sided design is not only visually distinctive but also makes the coin easy to identify by touch. A big advantage for people handling cash quickly. It's also resistant to counterfeiting compared to perfectly round coins. By 1981, the Australian 50-cent coin had already become a cultural symbol. large enough to display national pride through detailed engraving, but also practical enough for everyday transactions.